Good morning, everyone. Hey, I think today is Wednesday, and I'm just looking here, get everything going. Going. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's Wednesday. It always takes a couple minutes to get everything moving along here. Let's see. Okay, so I click on that. Okay, so we have a few plans today. We're going to try and finish up what was happening yesterday that we didn't have time for. And yeah, so that is what the plan is for today. Okay, just have to get a couple more things here rolling. You know, it's always just so much fun to work with the computer. Anyways, okay, I think we're on. We're pretty much on. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do, we didn't do it yesterday because we ran out of time, and so I'm just going to cut these up. And so everything is, hey, good morning, Jane. Hi. And it is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. So, yeah, so we're going to finish up what we didn't have time to do yesterday, and we're going to make some additional things. So I was just so happy with that, the results of the somebody else was on, I can't see who, with the results of the I want to say pickled because I'm on pickles today, or I'm on pickled peppers today. But I wanted to say that fermented salsa that we made. Oh my God, that was so good yesterday. And hey, Carolina, hi. Nice, thank you. It's just fun. We're just having fun and sharing some interesting recipes. And yeah, so I'm really glad that everybody's enjoying it. It's pretty casual. It's kind of like a just hang out every morning, and you know, hopefully I can share some information that's helpful and interesting. I mean, you know, it's pretty much always interesting because it's just too fun. And so that's awesome. Beautiful, colorful vegetables. Yeah, so I'm very excited about the fermenting. You know, I think it's just so important, and I feel like this has really been fermenting week. But you know, I just can't say enough about the importance of keeping your you know, your intestinal bacteria optimal as much as possible. And of course, I've been really focused on that this week because I was on that little round of antibiotics, which, you know, I mean, I normally don't do that, but there is a time for antibiotics, and most of the time I use herbs. But you know, it's kind of when it comes to teeth, it's kind of you don't want to mess around with that stuff just in case, you know, and especially during these times, right? You don't want to end up with a bigger problem than you would have. But the trick really is to replace that intestinal bacteria that that the antibiotics kill off, right? So when you think about the words antibiotics, it's antibiotics, so it kills off the good beneficial bacteria, which is why you need probiotics. So you have antibiotics, and then you replace that with probiotics. Whoops. And I didn't cut myself, almost. It was just came a little closer. So yeah. And then there's the prebiotics, which are the foods that facilitate really good fermentation in the fermentation and probiotics that facilitate the growth of the probiotics. And so, I mean, there's a list of prebiotics, you know, like garlic and different things like that. But basically, any of your raw vegetables will help to, you know, will help for optimum health and optimum growth of that beneficial bacteria. So yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're going to have some fun with I'm not going to do that yet. I always, it's so much fun on this because I always change my mind and we just roll with it. Hey, Darlene, hi, good morning. So, yeah, so and that's how life is, right? You start out with a plan, or at least in my life anyway. You start off with a plan and then you start thinking about it. As you get into it, then you think, this might be a better idea, or this might not be a good idea, and maybe I'd like to do this or change that. And so, so that's kind of how I cook. I want it to be fast, easy, healthy, like super healthy if possible. And so, it changes with a whim or with whatever you have in the fridge or whatever you don't have in the fridge. So what we're going to do, and I found that pepper. Remember, I was looking for that like 2 weeks ago. A wonderful friend gave me this, Nicole, and I couldn't find it. It was in the very, very bottom of the crisper, and it was wrapped in a little paper towel. So I didn't see it, but I found it. Okay, so when you're working with peppers like this, or when I'm working with peppers like this, because I'm so not an expert on any of this, and definitely not this. Hey, Minik, hi, good morning. Whenever I'm working with a new pepper that I'm not familiar with, I take a little tiny, tiny piece and just, this would be so embarrassing if it catches me on fire right in front of you guys. And rub it on your tongue and give it a minute. And if nothing happens, then give it a little bite. It's pretty mild. Okay, I'm not really tasting anything. So now I'm just going to go wash my hands real quick because even though I didn't touch that piece, I want to make sure my hands are clean before I do this. Everything in your kitchen, all the food that you're working with should be obviously washed. And and all of your utensils clean. So, so I do always say that when I teach any of this, is that you should always wash your vegetables before you put them in the fridge, and even before the days of COVID when you really, really had to. I always did that, and some people say that washing your vegetables before you put them in the fridge takes away some of the nutrients, because you've washed them and put them in the fridge. But I think, like if it's cauliflower or broccoli and you don't cut it up, you just wash the whole thing, it's less impact. It's less of an impact or negative impact. But it sure saves time, because I know for if you work all day and you come in and you look at the vegetables that aren't washed and they're in the baggie, or whatever, then you have to take them out and wash them and figure that out and then put them all back in. And you just, a lot of people just don't have the patience for that and they end up eating something else. So I find that when you wash the vegetables before you put them in the fridge, like when they come home, they're not allowed in the fridge until they're washed. And what that does is it makes you eat them faster. So you actually gain, in my mind, the same amount of benefits as, not washing them until right before you use them. Okay, so I'm just going to make these into little slivers here. And because they don't taste like anything. They're not that spicy, but I really want them for a little bit of color, mostly. Okay, so I'm going to cut them in half. So these guys are an ornament in my mind. I'm sure they're beneficial too. Okay, so we're going to do 2 different kinds. And oh my gosh, I've done so much this summer, this spring and summer, that I am seriously running out of big jars. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a couple of these, and we're going to do this 2 different ways. I'm going to show you 2 different ways of doing this, which is super easy. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to, and in this case I am going to add a piece of garlic. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm going to add a piece of garlic, and I'm just going to cut it in half. I don't want this super garlicky. I want it to be more peppery. So I'm just going to stick the garlic in the bottom, and then you just however you want. If you want to do this, whoops, with bigger pieces. If you want to do it with bigger pieces, such as this, you can. But right now I'm not going to. I'm just gonna fill this with the assortment of peppers. And I don't have very many red ones. I seem to use them a lot. So it's gonna be like a lot of yellow. And let me think about this. Do I want to add red onion? I'm on and off about the red onion. And I'm going to add just my other one that I'll show you how to make. Yeah, we'll make one with and one without. Okay, so we're just going to add these in, and a little bit of green for color. And it's super, super simple. It doesn't get any simpler than that. We're just going to add apple cider vinegar. This is the raw mother apple cider vinegar. It has the mother in it, so it's the apple cider vinegar, and we're just simply going to cover these with the apple cider vinegar, and we're going to add some honey, and seriously, that's it. Like, it's way too easy. You guys have probably done this before a million times. So, but I need these, so that's what we're doing. Generally, we end up doing things that I need to do. And so I want them not super sweet, but the honey will help to preserve them. And so we're going to add this amount of honey. So I can do this by my other spoon here. Heaping tablespoon of honey. And this is just a small jar. So these are actually going to be kind of sweet and sour pickled peppers. Put that on a paper towel there. And so, yeah, so that's pretty much it. If you want, what you can do is shove that down a little bit and turn it over. I could have put the honey in the middle. You know, that might be an idea too. I'm not too worried about it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up, make sure your lids are clean. I'm going to end up shaking it throughout the day for the next few days, putting it in for the first, you know, like depending on the heat, but for the first day or so, I'm going to leave this out. And because I want it to get a little bit of that. It's not really going to ferment because there's no salt in it, but I want to get a little bit of the, especially make sure that the honey is melting. So I'm going to put it in a warm space, give it a shake a couple times a day for the next couple days, and then just make sure that honey has gone through. I mean, one of the things you can do that people have done is to heat up the apple cider vinegar, which to me reverses the beneficial effects of the apple cider vinegar, because the apple cider vinegar is just so beneficial for that. It assists too with the you know, the beneficial bacteria and the probiotics, but it's really helpful for the stomach if you have any stomach issues. Helps to digest and all that kind of thing. So I don't want to heat that up, and I certainly don't want to heat up the honey, because it's a raw natural honey that has all the antibiotic properties, antiviral properties. You know, you don't want to destroy all the healing properties of honey. Honey will heal anything. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, so that's it for that. Easy peasy. My little, I'm embarrassed to say, but somebody gave me this jar. I did not eat that. I haven't eaten that since I was like probably 12, when I still lived in California, and I didn't know any better. Okay, so okay, so we're gonna go on to we're gonna do this again with the other method. Okay, so probably I'll take a little bit more of the orange peppers just to show you guys. Now we're gonna ferment these, so this is gonna be a little bit different. And of course, hey, hi Norris, hi, good morning. Yeah, so this is going to, that's beneficial, but that's going to be like a condiment. And, you know, it's still beneficial, but it's going to be something that I use as a condiment, whereas this is actually a healing food. So this is going to be the fermented pickled peppers. And so they'll be treated differently when I use them. Right? Because, well, maybe not. You could use them the same way. It's just these ones are going to be have a whole different ball game happening. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this red pepper. I'm going to put it in this one because I'm going to ferment it. And so, so the red onions being anti-inflammatory and antihistamine, but especially the yellow ones are more antihistamine. These guys not so much. These are obviously, you know, they're sweeter and more. They have the other properties. They have the other properties. They're still anti-inflammatory though. Okay, so, and it was interesting because I showed you guys yesterday that I dehydrated onions, and I do think that's really important for these times to make sure that you're preserving foods. Okay, we're going to add garlic to this too. So, yeah, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It's easy things that I do, and I'm just sharing, I'm just hanging out with you guys while I do my stuff. And I'm telling you, I am telling you that that fermented salsa is so good that once it got to that absolutely perfect, fantastic spiciness from the peppers, and you know, before it turns vinegary, and it just has the most alive flavor. I guess that's the word. It has the most alive flavor. We almost ate whole jar last night, so I need to make more. And I don't know if you guys are up for watching me make another batch, because we made it not that long ago. But if you want something that will blow, you know, your socks off, do the fermented salsa. And I'm going to break this up a little bit more because I forgot. And obviously my hands are clean because I just washed them again. That's okay. We're actually, there's two different ways. There's two different ways of doing a ferment. You can do the, you can do like the sauerkraut, where you're taking the cabbage and you're slicing it super, super fine, and you're putting the salt in it, and then you're massaging it down and you're breaking it down and you're creating the brine, right? So there's that way of fermenting, and with sauerkraut, or I mean with cabbage as well. So, or you can do it like this. You can do a ferment and you can just add brine on top, which is what we're going to do with this one. So you can do this with, we're going to do it actually with carrots, or whatever it is, whatever kind of vegetables you want. You can do it with beans. You can, of course, that would happen, right? I usually lock her up, and but it's life, right? What are you gonna do? Hopefully that's not too loud and you can still hear me. Okay, thank you. That's awesome. I know. You know, I was watching some YouTube videos, and they had little kids running around interrupting things. Okay, stop, please. Is that gonna work? Okay, thank you. That's enough. Good girl. Good job. Okay, that's awesome. So, yeah, I was watching some YouTube videos. Okay, I have to pay attention here. This part, I have to pay attention. Then I'll tell you that. Okay, so basically when you're doing this, when you're making the fermentation brine, this is a pink Himalayan sea salt. And so when you're making the fermentation brine, you're going to have basically 1 tablespoon, it's hard to get that big spoon in there, per quart, which is like 4 cups. I looked it up. Honestly, I did grow up in California, and I'm not good with metric, so I do quarts and cups. So you guys can figure that out in metric if you want. So you're just going to do 1 tablespoon sea salt. You can use, you know, I prefer for you to not use iodized salt like regular table salt, but it'll work with it. It's just, to me, in my mind, it's not as healthy. So I just have water here, and I have it, I boiled it and let it cool. So now I want to make sure, like I want it a little warm so that the salt melts. but I don't want it so warm that that it's going to start cooking these, right? I don't want it over room temperature, and that feels to me a little bit warm, so I'm just going to add a little bit of cool water because I can see right away that the salt is melting already. Like I don't see the salt, right? And this is a fine Himalayan sea salt. You can get this at Healthy Habits, and so I'm not using the coarse salt. Now, if you're going to do the regular sauerkraut, most people will use the coarse salt, like they'll use the coarser salt. It kind of grinds down and helps you massage the sauerkraut or the cabbage. So it helps you to grind it down and mix it down. I find that I just really am enjoying using the finer Himalayan sea salt, even for the massaging the cabbage for regular sauerkraut. I don't know why, I just feel like it gets everywhere better, so, and that's probably not true at all. But anyways, okay, so this definitely, I am going to give it a little stir, and just to make sure that salt's mixed. You want to make sure the salt's mixed. So you're just going to pour the brine over top, and that's probably too full unless I push it down. So the trick to any fermenting, important, is to make sure that the brine is over the vegetables, otherwise it will mold. And there is a difference. We've spoken about this before, that there is a difference between the the phone's telling me something. There's a difference between I remember what I was saying. It's kind of, it's a terrible word, scum. It's not really scum, it's like a SCOBY. So it's like if you made a huge big thing of sauerkraut, it creates, oh, I know there's a word for it. Oh, and I can't think of what it is, but it's like a little film. I'm going to call it a film. That's not the word I'm looking for. There's a professional, there's a real professional word for that. Okay. Yeah, Jane's saying no iodized salt for pickling or fermenting. I mean, it's hey, Irene, hi. I've Sandor Katz and all the, like he's most famous for fermenting, and he doesn't like iodized salt either, but there have been several experts on the internet, and they have used iodized salt because they had to in the days when there were no choices. And apparently it does kind of work. I don't know how well it works, but it's not what I would do. But I'm just saying, people have used it, and I think if you're in a pinch, and that was one of the things that other lady was saying too, is that, and I'll answer Irene in a second, but one of the things, I got bit again with a mosquito. One of the things the other lady was saying too was that for preserving, that link that I shared about the being prepared, emergency prepared for the winter, for the COVID, whatever. She was saying salt's super important to have, like in your supplies that are necessities, being prepared. She was saying salt, and so I think that whatever salt you can get a hold of, like to get at least, she's saying 10 pounds. So if you can't get Himalayan sea salt or Celtic sea salt, get any kind of salt that you can, but try not to use it if you don't have to. How's that? If you have to use iodized salt, use it. If you don't, it's best not. Okay, so I'm just gonna, and that's the only reason I'm saying that is because sometimes we have to work with what we have, and apparently it has worked. Not ideal though. Okay, so Irene was asking about the thing on the top. It's kind of like a SCOBY. Like when we made these beautiful, this is actually rosemary vinegar. And so it grew the little SCOBY on the top, just like a kombucha SCOBY. And so we made all those a while back on here. But the sauerkraut, it's not like that. That's like a little rubbery thing, kind of protects from the air. This will too, but it's more, I don't know what to say other than it's like a slime. It's like a slime or a scum that comes over the top. And there is a, yeah, I bet it would ruin the taste, Jane, for sure. I don't think it would taste good at all, but it will preserve the food, apparently. That's what I'm told. So, anyways, back to the, it's called something, and I can't remember what it is. But anyway, it holds together. That's what I'm looking for. It's like a slime or a scum, and it kind of sort of holds together and it seals. And when you're making a big batch of sauerkraut, in the old days, what they would do is they would just scrape that off, that scum off, and they would use the kraut underneath. And they might have to scrape the first layer, you know, inch or so of sauerkraut off, and maybe compost that or whatever to get to the good stuff. So what I'm saying is look it up. Get Sandor Katz's book or whatever, you know, look it up on the internet. But there is a difference between that scum thing, whatever it's called, and mold. So if you have hair growing in it, like little fuzzy hairs, then no good. Throw it out. If it changes colors, if it looks like mold, or it changes colors, throw it out. But if you're making usually with cabbage, sauerkraut, it will, if it's not underwater, and sometimes even if it is, it'll develop that really thin thing. And most people say it's no big deal, scrape it off and keep eating. But if you look at it and it looks like not good, then don't, you know, don't eat anything that doesn't look good. Anyways, okay, so back to this, the food needs to be under the water, under the brine. Okay, I'm getting all confused here. So what I'm going to do, and I forgot to grab that, that's why I'm looking around. This is is this a pint? I think this is a pint jar. And there I go with my, I don't know, my measurements and metrics. But I'm pretty sure the little tiny jam jars, which I'm not going to run and get it, but I have one. And you can set it on top and it fits perfect. And you can just push it down in there to hold the vegetables underneath the brine. Okay, alternatively, you can buy and use one of these things, which I did order, the Perfect Pickler, and it has a seal and it has the water to stop the air from getting in, and a little filter here to stop any bugs or dust or anything from getting in as well, right? So this will work as well. Or if you don't have something like this, what some people have done is they fill up a water with a baggie. Yeah, they fill up a baggie with water and put it down to keep the vegetables under. So the vegetables have to be under the brine. The other thing is, and I'm going to look into this because I think it'd be really handy, and I'm pretty sure it won't be too expensive, is there's a website that I'm looking at, and they sell little glass discs of different sizes that you can set on there. So it's like a little glass stone, and set that on there too to hold it down underneath. So that's the, so this is like your, I don't know, kind of, you know, traditional-ish pickled peppers with the vinegar. And then this is one that's going to turn into vinegar because of the salt. So this is a ferment that will turn vinegary. And this will be more full of the probiotics. Okay, so, oh my God, how that conversation goes so deep. So what we're going to do now, I'm so far behind. We're going to, what was I going to say? Okay, we're going to add red onion to this, so I don't mind that my knife has red onions on it, because we're going to do that anyways. And so, I'm just checking on the comments. So yeah, so I want to make lots of this stuff because it does take, I mean, you can start eating it right away, tasting, you know, open it up. And that's the other thing, is when you're fermenting, to keep checking on it. You need to keep checking on it, opening it up. You can have a little taste, push it back down, make sure it's under the water, and then you know, make sure that it's all sealed and under the water, and then keep checking it every few days. And yeah, so I mean, when you're making a big jar, if you have a little jar, it probably wouldn't last long enough to actually get fermented. But depending on your heat, it can ferment in as little as 3 days. Most people like to leave it 2 weeks. And once it reaches the your preferred sourness, like vinegar taste, or not, it can have just a salty taste, salty or vinegary. Whenever it tastes really good to you and you want it to stop there, and you'll get to know that if you do this more often, then you just stick it in the fridge, and it'll stop the fermentation process, but it will still be fermented, and it will still be full of probiotics, and it will still be good for you. So I have all my different choices of carrots here. We're going to do that another day. We're just going to use these. So these are the organic carrots that I got at Save On. These are the organic juicing carrots. So they're very inexpensive. I encourage you to try and get your carrots in bulk if you can. Organic, that's awesome. This is like a 10-pound bag for I think $10. So it's a really good deal for organic carrots. And so we're just going to do these and do the same thing. Oh, I was going to say, don't let me forget to tell you about those. Don't let me forget to tell you about the grape leaves. So, yeah, so I'm not sure if that's enough or not. Let's see. Okay, so, yes, okay. Manic, yes, okay, it's Calm. Calm, K-A-H-M. No wonder I can't remember that. I'm so calm. It's Calm is the film that goes over top, and it's a yeast that goes over the top of the ferment, and that's the one that is quite normal and seals off and protects from the air. And then you would take that off, though. You're not just going to eat that. You would take that off, wipe it off, and then you would put it in, grab the sauerkraut or whatever it is that's underneath the brine and underneath the Calm. I need to remember that Calm because I'm so calm. Okay, so I'm just going to fool around with this, and I'm not, I'm looking at this jar here, and I'm just thinking that if I did this, are those carrots going to want to push up? Like, am I going to be able to put a jar or anything to hold the carrots down? Are they going to pop up, or would this work? Okay, so there's a puzzle for you. I really don't have a scientific mind. I am a certified herbalist, and I'm trained in natural health consulting and nutrition and all that stuff, but numbers are not my thing. So anyways, I think I'm going to use this jar instead, and I will play with that one. Although that might work. It might work better. I'm not really sure. Traditionally, they use smooth jars with a smooth top. So I'm just going to throw these in. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not yet. Okay, wait, hang on. We need to add the stuff. We're going to add the stuff. So to these carrots, I am going to add bigger pieces of this pepper because I do want it spicy, and I'm even going to add the seeds. Okay, so I want these carrots to be peppery. Maybe I'll add those around the sides for color. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit. I'm going to drop this onion in here, and then I'm going to grab more of the onion. And oh my gosh, okay. So I'm just going to put this in the bottom because I don't really need it. I don't think I need it. Maybe I do need it floating around, but I'm not going to have it floating around. I'm going to add ginger because ginger is just so good for everything. And so add a couple slices. Okay, not too much. I love ginger, but sometimes I overdo it for some people. Sometimes a lot. I overdo things for some people. Anyways, okay, so you can see the onion, ginger, and the pepper in the bottom. And I'm going to try and get these guys in to where it looks half decent. I might need a couple more carrots. Stick those in there. Make sure your jar is clean, your hands are clean, the lid's clean. And okay, so we do need another carrot here. Gonna do that. And yeah, so the probiotics, like they were saying before, or like I was saying before, that they were saying before, super important for brain health. You know, like your probiotics, the fermented foods facilitate brain function. They're good for, like, it really alleviates depression. They have done lots of studies with feeding fermented foods to children with autism. They've been doing researching and experiments, I guess, people with Alzheimer's, and they say with people with Alzheimer's that if they eat fermented foods on a daily basis, there's, you know, improvement, and it also works with, well, obviously brain function, memory loss. And so it really does, these fermented foods do a lot more than what you think. And besides which, of course, it is everything about your immune system and keeping your immune system strong. And when your immune system's strong, then you're resistant to viruses and any other illnesses, really. You know, it creates, your body has the ability to have a better anti-inflammatory response. Obviously, it's fantastic for anybody with irritable bowel issues, or any kind of bowel issues or digestive issues. Good for bloating. Good for, you know, anybody that has allergies, for sure. Like, well, it could be even airborne allergies, but specifically food allergies. My gosh, you know, you start getting into fermented foods, it's going to actually heal that. You know, usually food allergies are often related to leaky gut syndrome. Not always, but often. And there's the book by Elaine Gottschall, Breaking the Vicious Cycle. And it's really quite amazing, excellent research. I mean, there were several books out, but that's one of the ones that I read years and years ago. And so anything to do with intestinal issues, allergies, bloating, indigestion, colon issues of any sort, your immune system, brain function. I mean, can I say enough? Like the idea of eating this is just for your health. It's just like, you know, the best thing that you could possibly do. Okay, so that's it. So I didn't overdo it here because I do want to have like the carrot taste. I don't really want it too overpowered, but you could add whatever you want. So there's ginger, a little bit of red onion, and the actually a fair amount of the peppers. And I was gonna put these in between just for color, and I'm gonna try, but I don't want them sneaking up out of the brine. So you can put it down in like that, and see if I can wedge it down in there tight, so that he doesn't come swimming back up. Yeah, you don't really want, you definitely don't want them coming back up. And there's a little tiny carrot there, and I'm probably going to just take him out because this kind of thing is going to float. We don't want any floaters. It's okay, honestly. Okay, so this is the brine that we just made, okay, guys? And simple as that. And so the other thing we can do, now see this little piece came up, you can't have that. So this kind of thing is super easy because you've got everybody wedged right in there, and they're not going to float above the brine. If you find that there's a little piece that, you know, is maybe coming up, super easy to just add another piece of carrot and just wedge it right in there to make sure everybody is super tight. Okay, so super easy. Now we'll check on these over the next, it's going to take longer obviously because they're thicker, so they're not going to ferment as fast obviously. But I'll keep checking on them, and then we'll check on them in a couple days. Oh, I totally forgot something. We're almost out of time. But you know what? We'll do it with something else. I was going to add, we can add some of these. I happen to have a friend of mine sells Epicure, And I happen to have the coconut curry, which would be really good, mango curry, and lemon dilly. And so you can add those to any of these fermented foods for spice. Like you can add whatever spice you want, and so depending on the spice, it's a little trickier if you get some floaties. But generally, you can usually put some in the bottom, and then whatever floats up, you just have to remove. But you can add that too. So I think I just want to have this pure carrots, and we'll work with those with something else, maybe different carrots, or you can do it with peas, you can do it with beans, you can ferment anything. Oh my gosh, beets. My mind. Okay, so yeah, so this is awesome. So that's done. And I was going to show you something else, and you know what? I think I'm going to do it anyway. And if you guys need to go, you can go. And you can watch this later, but I really need to make some more of this. And so while I'm here, I might as well, right? And if you want to watch, you can. And if you don't want to watch, that's okay too. So what we're going to, oh, this is what I forgot. See, you forgot to remind me, you guys. Oh, hey, Rustina, hi, how you doing? Try cutting a food grade mesh and wedge at the top. Oh, that's an idea. A food grade mesh and wedge at the top to hold down the carrots. Yeah, you could do that. I'm not worried about these guys because they're pretty wedged in there tight. But that's a really good idea for like these pickled peppers that we just made. Yeah, that is a good idea if you can find a food grade mesh to hold it down. And like I said, this thing works really good. And then also there are those glass discs that I'm going to get hold of. There's another product that it's a lid like this and has like a little nipple on it, it's kind of like how you make those fruit fly traps where it's got a little tiny needly hole, enough to let the air out, but not enough to let the bugs in. There's those. The food grade mesh is a good idea. The other thing that I have heard of people doing is just putting their, I don't think it works very good though, or at least it doesn't for me, it's putting the mason jar lid on loose so that the air can escape. But in my experience, those fruit flies can just get right back under there, and so I have not found that to be beneficial. So the reason for the grape leaves, and I don't know that I can do this without it floating up, but the reason for the grape leaves, you can use grape leaves or you can use horseradish leaves. And oh yeah, okay, I got them wedged down in there. You can't see them, but it holds a firmness. So if you want your if you're making pickles, or in this case pickled carrots, and you want them to be firm, then you stick either a grape leaf or a horseradish leaf. I need a stronger carrot to push this guy down. A grape leaf or a horseradish leaf, and that will help it to stay firmer. You guys probably already know this stuff. But anyway, I have grape leaves, so there. Okay, so everybody's still very finely in. There's a little tiny stem of the carrot. Don't want him floating out. Any food at the top, it will help it to mold. Okay, so that's done. So I'm gonna carry on here because I have to get this done. I get so distracted so easily. So we're gonna do the ginger garlic thing because I really need that, and I need a clean knife to do that. So okay, so we're just gonna slice up this ginger fine because I'm just gonna use the little baby ninja thing, magic bullet, that's what it is. Okay, so we're gonna do the garlic and the ginger. I'm gonna end up putting the, this is such a good little condiment to have. And you just keep it in the fridge. It'll last, I don't know, it lasted, well, at least 2 weeks, I mean, you can use it after 3 weeks or up to 3 weeks, but it loses its oomph. And it's just simply all we're making is garlic and ginger. We're going to blend it up, and then it turns into a paste, and then you keep it in the fridge, and then you can just grab it whenever you need garlic and ginger together in a recipe. So these little garlics are certainly sticking. I don't usually have this much. Got a little peely problem. Okay, so yeah. And when you turn this over, you want to put whatever is softer at the top, or whatever softer, yeah, at the top, so it hits the blades, to help it to spin, so that you don't end up doing what I always do, which is, that's probably soft enough to go in whole, which is really put a strain on the poor little magic bullet. He's just, I think he wants to run scared every time I grab the canister. Okay, so we're going to put more of these in. Sometimes this works good. See, just pulls right off when you do that. That's kind of a big piece, so I will cut it. And yeah, so this is just something that I always keep in there. And the other thing I need to make, I don't know if you guys are into it. Manik, you didn't what? I don't know what you didn't. The other thing I need to make is more salad dressing, so we'll do that. I know you guys have seen me do that before. There, see, that works really good. It just crumbles it right up, falls right out of the shell, and there you go. So that's not quite equal amounts. I'm gonna add one more piece. And sometimes, you know, when I talk and try and work at the same time, I forget things. But that's okay. It's just there are no mistakes. We just have fun doing what we do, and I'm always up for plan B, C, or D. Okay, so simple as that. You guys can see easily just garlic and ginger, raw, both. And if I can, I don't know if I can get this over here far enough. I guess so. Okay. Simple as that. So, okay. There you go. So, yeah, I think for me, that's about enough for what I use, and that'll last me, depending on what I'm making, about 2 weeks. And so you just stick this in a jar, put it in the fridge, you've got your garlic and your ginger for use whenever you want. And so I've really kept you guys here for a long time. But you're into it, okay, yeah. So, yeah, so we're gonna experiment with some more stuff, and we'll do that tomorrow at 11. And so have fun pickling and fermenting. All right, so put your comments, whatever it is that you want to do or learn about or whatever, let me know. Definitely, I'm learning more about Instagram, so check out my Instagram. I'm trying to figure it all out. Anyways, yeah, so, and of course YouTube. All right, have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11.